Okay guys, so in the last video I showed you how to manipulate the graphic overrides for a view, and now I'm going to teach you guys how to make or save those properties as a template. So I'm still in my east elevation, and you can go ahead and right click on that elevation tab or whatever view tab, and you'll want to create a view template from view, and you can name it whatever you want. For the sake of this tutorial, I will call it Sketchy View. I'll hit OK. So in this project there are already a bunch of graphic override properties placed in this view, like the gradient fade of the sky, the color of the ground, the shadows, the fade of the shadows, specific line work, and so on and so forth. So right now I'm in Sketchy View, and you can basically change all of the settings here. So for the sake of this demonstration, I'm going to edit Sketchy Lines. So I'm going to enable Sketchy Lines, and I'm just going to do some arbitrary amount, and I'm going to hit OK. And so you can also change the depth cueing, the lighting, how detailed you want it to be, and you can just go in, and I think this one is just a down arrow, so yeah, you can just decide whether you want it to be a super coarse view or super fine and have your lines be very thin. You could also just put phase filters on here if you wanted just to keep your drawings a little more organized. You can show what phase you wanted for a certain template. But there's a lot of things you can manipulate within this dialog box. So after I've changed those sketchy lines, I can hit OK, and now that template is saved under Sketchy Lines. So if I were to right click on that tab again, I could apply a template. So I can go in and select Sketchy Lines and hit OK, and now it's applied those sketchy lines. So it's a lot more jittery, a lot more loose. If I were to zoom in, it's the best way that a computer can sort of generate a more free-handed, sketchy look in a drawing. And so I can go ahead and go to my south elevation and apply that same filter. So I can go in and apply a template. I can go to Sketchy View, which I created, hit OK, and it just changed up those lines. So yeah, it's pretty straightforward. It just becomes really easy when you're putting together a bunch of elevations or views, or want to do something a little more visually pleasing as opposed to just the flat elevations that are standard with Revit. So by creating those templates, you can more quickly adjust what you want your views to look like, rather than going into the dialog box of the graphic display options every single time you have to set up a new view. So I hope you guys found that helpful.